Becklestone from Kempsey. I want the candidates to imagine for a moment that they're all unemployed, and I'd like them to explain to us all how they would survive on New Start, or even the age pension.
Yeah, it's tough. I was unemployed for a while when I got very ill, and I applied for many jobs. I even applied for a night shift slaughtering chickens in a factory and couldn't get that because they said I was overqualified. But yeah, it is tough. It's very tough when you get down, as I was ill for 2 years. And I think there's substantial merit in what Labor is talking about in reviewing the lower end. It needs much more debate than we can allocate now.
Yeah. Look, there is a lot of, obviously a lot of people on New Start who aren't getting by. We recognise that. We've committed to reviewing all welfare payments upon getting into government. We're not reviewing them with a view to putting them down. We'll review them with a view to putting them up. But that's something that we will do when we get into government. And a couple of other things just on that point. You will have seen recently that we'll be advocating for an increase in the minimum wage. So that's a symbol of the direction that we're going in that regard as well. But there's a whole lot of other things we can do to help people who are on New Start getting into a job. And I mean, the jobs outlook here ain't great. I mean, we have a situation here where the Nats are just sitting on their hands, just saying, oh, we'll just consolidate what we have and not go into any new areas. If I get in, if I'm a local member on the 19th of May, I'm going to be leading trade missions to Sydney, into government, into private business to get jobs, brought here, but also for companies in Sydney, Brisbane, Canberra, Melbourne to employ, people out of here, because a job is a great way to, start that process. Secondly, industries of the future. We have great opportunities, particularly in the Kempsey area, for organic farming. That will be a huge growth area for the future. Also, too, we have plenty of farming lands there that aren't being used, that could be used for solar. There's also opportunity with hydro generation in the area. So there's a whole lot of things we can do to create jobs in this area, and which doesn't include building cinemas in Kempsey, I should also add. And that's something, my number one priority when I get into office, and the number one thing that you'll be judging me by.
I've produced a brochure which I'm going to distribute around the electorate, and in it I've said that I want to double New Start. New Start at the moment is below the poverty line, and everyone I know that's on it is doing it really, really tough. And as far as getting employment goes, we have none at the moment because we don't manufacture anything. We need to get back to rebuilding Australia's industry and farming, and we start with food, clothing and shelter. So I'm going to start with food and then work into the clothing and shelter bit. And that is industry, and we have none. Very little. And that's where the jobs are. Not everyone can be a political advisor, and most of us, a lot of us, have to work in factories because that's what we're good at. And I've done that. I've worked as a slaughterman, and a lot of the guys I work with couldn't read or write. Now I'm going to be campaigning to get jobs for those people in that sort of process work. Full stop.
Look, I am a very strong advocate from an economic point of view as well as a community point of view that it is a bottom-up approach, not a trickle-down approach. I've worked with Dr. Cassandra Goldie from the Australian Council of Social Services in the past. I would be very happy to work with her again. I do think there is a very strong argument that New Start should go up, and I think that is good for community and also good for small business in our local community, largely retail, if not in recession, in a retail recession, very, very close to it.
I can proudly say that the Greens would raise New Start immediately by $75 a week. I actually have been on New Start in the past in my life. I've struggled to find work at times. I've had a university education and I've tried very hard, so I actually do know what it's like to try and survive on that kind of money. It has not gone up. New Start has not gone up since 1994. It's disgraceful that people who are just trying to,